What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2, and it's happened again. Manchester City, you've been absolutely cooked by Tottenham Hotspur once again, and what a fantastic display. I am here with Sai, and what can we say? I mean, I just thought, first half an hour it was a bit pensive, not many chances being creative. But I just felt that the way Tottenham played this game was absolutely perfect, down to a T. The aggressive nature, the defensive actions, the way we sprung on them and created our chances and created problems. Oh my God, it was a joy to behold. Talk to me, Simon. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it was like the most mature performance I've seen for a long, long time. And what I mean by that is like every single player was completely in their full structure of how position play and everything like that, but like every individual was working for the whole team, and there was so many instances where not necessarily where we lost the ball, but everyone was always backing each other up, concentrating throughout that whole entirety of the game. And there's so many instances in the past where we've seen this situation where we get to the last maybe 10-20 minutes and we just switch off. So it's such a fantastic thing to see that throughout the entirety of that game, we're talking about like 100 odd minutes in total of satisfaction in my mind of seeing us see the game through in a massively professional manner, but taking advantage of the opportunities when they came, but also analysing where City were maybe having some kind of threat, dealing with it, or seeing that there's an advantage here, that they're not on the game here, let's take this to them. And we succeed in it. So we're sitting here once again after a game at the Etihad with a fantastic performance.
Yeah. There was one little mishap at the back from Spurs, wasn't there, when Vicario and Van de Ven, and Man City definitely could have scored from that aspect. But apart from that, I felt it was the most perfect defensive display that I've seen from Tottenham in a very long time. Romero being aggressive, Mickey Van de Ven with unbelievable challenges in there, one goal-saving challenge in there from Mickey Van de Ven. João Palhinha, what a performance it was from him. Oh my days, wherever there was a loose pass, or wherever there was a stray ball in there, wherever there was a man just trying to maraud his way through the midfield, there was João Palhinha. And don't forget Rodrigo Bentancur as well, because both of them patrolling the spaces in the middle of the park. I mean, that midfield, we were worried about Man City being able to win that midfield battle today. But João Palhinha, Rodrigo Bentancur, and Pape Matar Sarr, oh my God, what performances.
Yeah, it's incredible. And we were talking about it obviously during the game. For those that are just joining us, perhaps didn't see the watch along or whatever, shame on you for not watching it. But Sarr was my standout player anyway throughout. And it's just that aspect, what we were saying throughout the game, of the individualization of those players. Everyone was stepping up. Everyone was showing a personality, and that's what we wanted to see. We know that some of these players had it in their locker to do those certain things, and every single player was doing that. So it was absolutely fantastic to see. Even as well, mentioning throughout the game, some of the players where not intentionally, they were put out of position because another of their teammates were in that position already. They were just coordinated. Like, it was just like, oh, that's happening over here. I need to go and do this over here until the point where we can swap back over, whatever it might be. And it just worked dividends. Like, it was absolutely incredible. The performance throughout the whole team is one of the best I've seen for a long, long time. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we were just so hard to beat. The coaching that has gone into this side from Thomas Frank, Justin Cochrane, Matt Wells. I mean, I can only praise them. I can only give them that most amounts of praise whatsoever, because we look so defensively assured. We look like we're such an organised team, and not just from the defensive aspect, from the attacking elements as well, the pressing high up the pitch. How many times were we nicking the ball high up the pitch to win that press? Obviously, the second goal came from that aspect where they were trying to play it out the back with the goalkeeper. Pape Sarr, so important in that element, pressing his way, finds its way to Richarlison, his lovely dink round the keeper, and it finds its way to João Palhinha, and Spurs are 2 goals up at the Etihad before half-time. But I think the goals, particularly the first one, was such a nicely worked goal, wasn't it? The way the Richarlison just played the most pinpoint ball to Brennan Johnson. And Brennan Johnson, as much as he's going to have his critics, does what Brennan Johnson always does, and that is find the back of the net. Everyone says he's not going to do it in a Spurs shirt. He don't play on the left-hand side. He's not a left winger. Well, that's 2 games, 2 goals, and 2 unbelievable finishes. Yeah,
it's brilliant. As I said, I think there's a couple of elements of his game that he can just really improve on. He's going to be another level for sure. There's no doubt about it. So you just work on those bits and pieces, and I'm sure that will come throughout this season. I'm pretty confident, especially with a manager like Frank, who does love developing players. We're going to see a different Johnson to before. And one that's going to be something really special, and I think that's a really exciting thing to see, as this whole team really, just from the age perspective, is very early stages. If all these players are already at this kind of level and they just need to tweak a few things and improve in that instance, we're going to have an incredible team. We just need, it's a slightly different topic from now, but 2 or 3 other players that come in additionally, we're going to be a massive handful this season. We're going to need it through this long season for sure, especially with all the competitions going on. But what a performance from Johnson, from everyone. There's literally not one player I could fault today at all. Bar the mistake you mentioned about the Vicario situation with the defenders at the back, but that's understandable. I think sometimes you get a bit of arrogance in the game when you're leading in that way, to try to do something a bit different for no reason at all. We didn't need to do that, but immediately they acknowledge that, and that's what's key, is they acknowledge it, they sorted it out, and it didn't happen again throughout the rest of the game. So that's really interesting developments I've seen so far in these first 2 games, that's different to the last season and the season before. So long may it continue. I
mean, we absolutely cooked Man City today. We really put them in a frying pan and cooked them all over today, because they had nothing. They had absolutely nothing. We're all so impressed with Man City, first game of the season. Everyone's saying, they're champions-elect already. They're the best team in the Premier League. No one was impressive as them. Well, we've gone to the Etihad. We absolutely cooked them in the frying pan. I can't believe the level of performance today and the coaching that has gone into it, the structure of the team. It's so unbelievable when you actually see a team structure and a game plan implemented to the level that it was implemented today. And this has given us such a nice kickstart to the season now. 2 games, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, 5 goals scored. And we go into Bournemouth next week with our tails up. And it's been a hard week for Spurs fans with everything that's happened in the transfer market. I'm not going to mention no names. But this is the way to start the weekend, people. A 2-0 win against Manchester City and some top performances all over the pitch. Like you mentioned before, I cannot fault any player that played today. Even I thought Dom Solanke, when he came on, he looked good. Richarlison was pressing like a beast. He was, had his hand in both the goals that we scored today. I want to talk to you about Jed Spence at left back, because I thought he was fantastic today. He really was. I think Oscar Bob must be going home and having absolute nightmares about him, if he is even going home today, because I wouldn't be surprised if Jed Spence is emptying out his pockets when he gets home today and finds an Oscar Bob in there. But Jed Spence, from a defensive aspect, was incredible, and from a relieving of the pressure aspect and his ball playing ability and his cross-field passing was just sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? It's easy, as fans in general in football, to just have a massive admiration for strikers because of the goals scored and this, that, and the other. But Spence is one of those players that, since he had that rocky start with his career at Spurs, and that progression, the maturity and everything that's kicked in, the realisation that there's a massive opportunity here to play at a really top level, be consistent in the team, and he's taken that, and he's just gotten better and better, every game that he plays, and his intelligence level is so high. And we touched on it earlier, it's not his natural position on that side, but he's taken it with absolute professionalism, and absolutely completely grasped it to the point where it's really difficult for attacking players of the opposition team to get past them. And he's almost like, when I watch him, and I talked about as well earlier about players doing things off the ball, he's almost like 2 or 3 steps ahead. He reads it so well before it's even happened. And even in the attacking instance, the passing ability is unbelievable. But whether it's Bob or someone else, he has it taken care of 9 times out of 10 for sure. And it's not just this game. He's one of my favourite players. In my opinion, player of the season last year for sure. And again, long may that continue, because it is swept through the team today. I know it's early in the season. Usually I'm very much more sceptical about this and more level-headed, but I'm seeing some really encouraging signs of the development of the individuals. Their personalities are shining through. The expectation I had of a lot of these players, I'm seeing them reach that level of expectation and slightly going beyond that already. If we can continue that for the rest of the season and play like this, obviously each game's different, the tactical precision is different, but if we can balance this in each game, what a season we're going to have. We need more players, Daniel. Don't get too ahead of yourself, but that is, it's really encouraging to see that kind of game today.
Yeah, I'm just so happy with the level of work rate that this team is showing. The quality are obviously on top of that as well, but the work rate in every aspects of the phases of play, where it be the defensive phases of play, the build-up phases of play, the attacking phases of play. You're looking at Spurs working so hard in the Man City area with Richarlison pressing. Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison, for me, they work so well in tandem with each other, pressing together, being absolute beasts in the opposition area. I mean, Mohamed Kudus, there was a moment where, there wasn't just one moment, there was multiple moments where, whether it was Jeremy Doku or it was Omar Mamouche trying to spring an attack on us, and there, out of nowhere, Mohamed Kudus coming to help Pedro Porro from the defensive aspect. I mean, Mohamed Kudus, his work rate is just phenomenal, isn't it?
And that's what you want from all the players in various different stages of the game and different positions of the game. You have to have a balance of that attacking prowess ability, but also doing the hard work that's needed for the defending aspect. Now, I appreciate a lot of midfielders in the attacking areas and the strikers. Their prominent aspect in the game is to score goals and be attacking, but equally, it's something that has to be very hardly drilled in the training aspect to allow that mentality to kick in and be, that observation aspect of knowing there's a threat or a potential threat there and doing what's needed for the team. Because I appreciate they always obviously want to be as high up as possible. Like every striker and attacking midfielder wants to. But the fans 100% will appreciate it throughout this whole season if every player can have that ability to take care of both elements of the game that's required. And to see the attacking players, Kudus with the game that he had last week, I'm equally as impressed as everything that he's done defensively today. That's what we need, and what we are seeing thus far in every single one of these players right now is the two aspects of their game coming together when needed in a game.
Yeah, it's all about the three in midfield today. Obviously, everyone played their part, but the three in midfield, like I mentioned before, João Palhinha, Pape Matar Sarr, and Rodrigo Bentancur, I thought all three of them were just absolutely playing out of their skin today. Rodrigo Bentancur is playing as well as he was playing before his injury now. In my opinion, Rodrigo Bentancur is back to his best, and it's important for us to tie him down to that contract now, because I think he's a phenomenal player. Pape Matar Sarr is just getting better and better and better as each game passes. He was so influential to us, and like we mentioned, probably the man of the match today. And João Palhinha, goal on his first start. From a first look at him in terms of starting a game in the Premier League, what did you make out of him?
Yeah, brilliant. You talked about that ethos of that midfield. I mean, it's also important to recognise the substitutes that are coming on, matching that level of expectation when they're coming on and taking the responsibilities where they need to. So they definitely need credit as well, even though some of them came on for like 10, 15 minutes, some even less than that. But that's what you want as a full team. But those guys in the midfield today were absolutely phenomenal. Sarr, as I've picked out earlier, and with a lot of these players, their identities are coming through. There was some questionable players over the last couple of seasons where I'm like, what is this actual player? Like, what are they actually... where do they fit in this team? And we're starting to see that now. And with these extra additions on there, it's giving almost like a bit extra freedom. But I'm also seeing a lot more confidence in themselves, because it's really important to have good, decent players around you, as well as behind you, for you to be able to adapt to the game better, but also flow with that confidence. And you've got that ability. And it goes back to my point earlier about expectation. Their expectations are higher as well, which is why we've seen so much frustration over the last couple of years. But you now see it in full play today. Like, when you know you've got a full structure behind you and everyone knows what they're doing and everyone's doing their responsibilities they should be, it gives you the authorization as a player to be who you should be or who you want to be as a player. And that quality was shining through that whole aspect of midfield, and that ultimately creates the chances that we've seen throughout the game, albeit not a massive amount of chances, but enough to give that confidence and ability to be able to allow them to be produced and ultimately get goals from the ones that we do get chances of. So, again, no fault to anyone, but those guys in midfield bossed it today.
To go into a game at the Etihad against champions 4 times out of the last 5 years and give away as little as we did today, particularly of how good they looked in the first game of the season, I think is nothing short of phenomenal, and such a testament to Frank, such a testament to the work that they're doing on the training ground. I mean, I can't wax lyrical enough about the job that Thomas Frank has done so far, because you're looking at the 3 games competitive, if you want to call the PSG game a competitive game, right? Those 3 games. PSG played them off the park for the majority of the game. We let it slip.
85 minutes.
Yeah, 85 minutes. We let it slip at the end. All right, cool. Burnley game, 3-0, easy does it, great job. And today, the best of the lot, a 2-0 win away from Man City. So I cannot wait to see how this project develops under Thomas Frank. Man City had absolutely nothing today, and it was unbelievable performances all round. So Man City, you have been cooked well and truly once again, and that is our instant match reaction. Big up to everyone in the live chat